Top 5 top 5s. Top 5 fragrance top 5s. James Talk Tuesday with James. Cool. Today's top 5 is specifically designed for the fragrance community. I've created my favorite top 5 topics for fragrances and compiled them into a top 5 list. And in case you missed it on Sunday, Team Top 5, Triple Ink, Imagine Sense, Cascade Sense, and Gen Sense did their first 4-person live stream, which was pretty insightful. It was really cool, and it made us realize that Timmy has a potato for a computer. But anyway, let's get into that list of top 5 fragrance top 5s. Number 5, top 5 summer fragrances. This is the time where we get to really just start working our summer fragrances, man. Citrus, aquatic, fresh, bleh. Total beach vibes, bro. So at the top of my summer list, we got a goodie, J-ROYL Renaissance. Part of the 1861 collection, this is the summery brother of Naxos. It's also a third one, which no one cares about. This is quite possibly the greatest summer fragrance of all time. And no, I'm not Team Neo. I've tried a sample of Neo and it's amazing, but this one performs better on me. So it gets the W.
It gets the win. It's a winner. It's a winner.
Incredible quality ingredients compiled here. Very non-linear. It develops beautifully on the skin. It's very masculine, beautiful natural citrus, and that bottle is quite bougie.
Bad bougie, bad bougie.
So number 1 on my top 5 summer list, Renaissance. Bam! The next top 5 that we seem to see a lot of is top 5 office-safe fragrances. Now I find that statement to be a bit of an oxymoron because really, no fragrances are office safe. You work in close quarters in those cute little cubicles, and you're there for a long time, man, 8 hours. So if someone's wearing something pretty crummy, pretty poopsy, fragrance-wise, and you gotta sit next to them the whole day, that sucks. That's why my choice for office fragrance, Molecule 01 by Eccentric Molecules. This fragrance is great for the office because it doesn't smell like anything. It's an extremely passive, neutral fragrance. Now, if you've worn this fragrance extensively, you'll know it smells like something good. It's not water in here, it's ISO-E Super. ISO-E Super projects a bit of a very subtle, woodsy nuance. But really, it doesn't smell like a fragrance, which is why it's perfect for the office. And yes, I do know that people use this as a primer for other fragrances, as a base to help projection. What I found was I recently layered this with Vintage Reflection Man by Amouage. And what ended up happening was I stopped smelling Reflection Man after a couple hours, and I smelled this instead. This ain't no slouch. This ain't slouching. At the top of my top 5 office scent list, Molecule 01. My next top 5, of course, if you slave away at the office all week and you want to go clubbing, bro. So in order to do that, you go on YouTube and you search for top 5 clubbing fragrances. My top choice on my personal top 5 clubbing list
Is the ultimate
Ultramall, complete with a bulge. Ultramall is my favorite clubbing fragrance by far. This is my Blue Beast. Not interlude name. It lasts and lasts and lasts, extremely pleasant, unique, different enough from the original. It's really hard not to like this fragrance, unless if you have 14 sprays at church. I know grandma won't be too thrilled about that choice. Although this has been on many people's clubbing lists, it's still not available widely enough that everyone in the club would be wearing it. My top choice on my personal top 5 clubbing list, Ultramall. Number 2 on my favorite top 5 fragrance top 5s is Cheapies. If you're out clubbing all the time, spending all your money on bottle service, bro, and booze. My number 1 choice on my personal cheap list, 4711 Mora and Verts. Because when you can get 27 ounces of Neroli Portofino for 40-50 bucks, I'd say that's a pretty good deal. This fragrance is a serious OG, guys. This fragrance came out in the 18th century and it is from Germany. It's one of the original colognes, period, ever. My number one choice for top 5 cheapies would be 4711 by Maurer and Wirtz.
And now,
For the main event of the evening or day, if you're watching this at the daytime. My favorite top 5 fragrance list has got to be panty droppers. Even though the word panties is kind of an icky word, it's a hilarious topic that we're obsessed about. We want to know which fragrances are gonna magically make women's undergarments disappear. If you're not into fragrances for the artistic aspect or for aromatherapy, you're in it to get compliments. And the panty dropper fragrance is supposed to garner the most elite of compliments. The I would love to fornicate with you type of compliments. If you peruse these top 5 panty dropper videos, there really seems to be a unanimous winner. Some call it the king of men's fragrance. You know it, I know it. My number one choice on my top 5 panty droppers list would be...
Just show it already, show it, please, show it.
Pineapple Vintage Noir. I'm sorry guys, I'm sorry. This is by far my most complimented fragrance in my entire collection. And here's the interesting thing. You may notice it's a full bottle. I got this bottle from my boy, Manny from Cascade Scents. Before this, I had a 10 ml decant from Parfums Vintage. And that decant alone gave me more compliments than any of my bottles in my collection. Story time! I was watching a performance, some dancers, some singers. This show was set up so that there was a little bit of audience interaction where the dancers would come down the aisles. And in the middle of the show, one of the dancers turned to me and basically yelled out,
You smell amazing!
now this is a paid audience. They're paying to see this show. And one of the dancers had to tell me at that moment how good I smelled wearing this. I later found out that a friend of that dancer also smelt me and asked her whatever James was wearing. Oh my God.
So good, so good. Like, it was really, really good. Like, it was very, like, hot. For some reason, I don't know where my panties went. They just disappeared.
Now, some people compare this guy to a smoky batch of Aventus. Do I find Pineapple Vintage Noir smoky? No. If you take a zesty, fresh, organic pineapple, that's the original Pineapple Vintage. You let it sit for a couple of days in the supermarket, that's intense. It's still very, very pineapple-y, but there's just a little bit of, I guess, woodsiness, but pretty much identical to the original, even in performance. But then, once it gets a little bit overripe and starts to get really sweet and rich, that's when you get Pineapple Vintage Noir. It lends itself a little bit more to evenings, perhaps, summer evenings. Oh my gosh, this is amazing for that. My number one panty dropper on my top 5, Pineapple Vintage Noir. We made it, guys, we made it through my crazy, quirky, eccentric top 5 fragrances list. I thought it was a fun idea because I love top 5s. I know you guys love top 5s. Here's a little recap of my top 5 right over here. Looking good, guys, looking good, especially the one in the middle. All of our links to social media are down below, and if you like what you see, yes, go ahead and click the subscribe button. Ring my bell so you can get notifications from YouTube. Today's goodbye riff is in the style of indie girl singer. Goodbye, Here comes another story. My parents grew up in the Soviet Union, and my dad was one of the only people to have fancy European cologne. This was 40 years ago. He had a bottle of 4711 by Maurer and Wirtz. It was a big bottle. It was like maybe 2 liters. And his buddies came over, and one guy was a bit drunk, grabbed the bottle, looked at it, and said, Viska, and took a massive gulp of this. But he liked it. He gave the thumbs up. So apparently, it tastes good. If your local liquor stores go on strike, just go on FragranceNet.